He trained you.
No, you didn't.
That's controversial.
It's controversial of raping kids. No, I need to.
Really good.
Okay,
It's been a good one. Bye.
Bye, guys.
Mwah, 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 mwah. Oh my! Delete everything. Delete everything. Everything goes. Everything goes. Everything.
Right about now, the world is captivated with this tragedy surrounding one of Sony's artists by the name of David. Now, even as we heard all the news about this body being found in his car, and we heard that he was on tour, what we didn't see was a whole gang of people deciding that they were going to go run the Sony talking about mute David. We didn't see all of this effort being put on social media to mute and silence David, but instead he was allowed to sit out here and keep performing. So now I must bring your attention back to these surviving R. Kelly frauds, and the reason why I couldn't go along with them empowering all of these adult women to get on these platforms and tell their stories, but then when it came to actual children, they're dead silent.
Music. I am a lover of music, of many genres, and it was difficult for me to say, okay, I got to separate this.
Yeah.
This is just not right. So Aaliyah was probably when I kind of said, this is not okay. And it was the fact that she had been rumored to had an abortion by him, that he had, falsified her birth certificate to marry her illegally. And at the time she was 15 years old.
Now let's park it right there. Because as I said, some of these people fail to realize that just because I share these clips with you and revisit these clips, it don't mean that I believe nothing coming out these people's mouth. For example, this leader of Mute R. Kelly, she just told you that R. Kelly fudged Aaliyah's birth certificate and this and that. And then when I told the super fans about the red flag of Greenberg coming out here talking about, oh, he did marry Aaliyah, she lied about her age. Then when we get to the paperwork and we come to the realization the charge was bribery, and it wasn't bribing nobody to forge a birth certificate as this lady just indicated. And at the end of the day, when you go to the transcripts, you can't see where the government proved that Demetrius Smith lying ass bribed anybody. But yet they were able to run with his story about how he did this and he did that, and that he thought that Aaliyah was pregnant. And now these other people get to come out here talking about she had an abortion. Oh, there's a secret love child over here, and all this other nonsense that we saw that obviously tainted public's perception as they intended.
The question was whether or not these women were over age. And once it was determined that they were of age when they met him, we faced a host of issues. And so, like Tim said, 3 years ago when they came in my office, after he called me, I first started to strategize, how can I help? Because legally there weren't too many options. But what we had to do was destroy the narrative that's been surrounding this individual and many cases like this, that these are women that no one cares for, that these are women that no one will fight for. And so we took a outside the box approach, and we started to destroy the narrative. We had to convince men and women across the country to believe what was going on.
Welcome to Prima Donna News, where I'll be giving you all of my commentary regarding all of the trending topics that I find interesting, as well as break through all the propaganda surrounding Robert Sylvester Kelly. If you haven't already, make sure you check your notifications to make sure they're set on all. That way you're not missing any of my uploads. Make sure you like this video, share it, and subscribe if you haven't already.
I don't need a like to get it poppin', but these bitches in my business cut me out to choosing violence. If you see me out in public, you don't know me, keep it silent. In the bedroom, I be screaming, but outside I keep it quiet. You know what I'm saying?
Now, it might make sense to some of these goofies always talking about who's profiting off of Robert Kelly and skip all these people who made all of these careers, established all these nonprofits, got all these government PPP loans, even though they supposed to be hostages, so clearly they couldn't have been operating a legit business, but that's neither here nor there considering we know the government has no problem allowing these people who finagle the government, defraud the people, etc., to get on witness stands and tell their stories because obviously they could use witness testimony because they don't have sufficient evidence to validate these claims they were able to facilitate with this RICO. Yet the fact that they so cockily want to come out here and talk about this case being closed and everybody be oblivious to the importance of Bo Brentley doing what he has to do in regards to Robert Kelly's lawsuit against Tasha K and the BOP, because as I insinuated in this video earlier, it's clear as day these people don't give a shit about these minors being exploited in the industry. It's mighty funny that when other people are engulfed in these type of allegations as this guy David is, you don't hear a peep from them. But we were supposed to believe them and all their strategizing to change public perception about Robert Kelly, even though they did all this double talking saying that this happened way back in 94, 95, and this is when they lost their interest in Robert Kelly, but nobody got together like they did with Mute R. Kelly to go get no charges structured right on the specific allegations instead of heightening these rumors and allegations and, like I said, empowering these bad act witnesses to get on these platforms and lie. So I ask you, where are they now? They were able to get these witnesses to get on the stand and get their immunity and promise them all this restitution, get them these PPP loans and other government benefits, and everybody can skip past the motive that fueled them to turn against Robert Kelly. I mean, think about it. They got this shell company to produce this hit piece, Surviving R. Kelly, on a janky-ass network that already was engulfed in all kind of hellacious allegations involving minors. And we were supposed to be engulfed with these stories that these people told, even though we know exactly what the motivating factors were. Now, granted, a lot of fans didn't want to be exposed to all this propaganda that was being put out here. And as I said, I documented it for a reason. Because again, if this man did all this and all that, it shouldn't have taken all this work to keep R. Kelly down or to run to a music company that these people claim knew all this, was in the know that he did this and he did that, covered it up. But then when the money ran out, it became a problem. I can't make this shit up. But anywho, let's dip back into what this lady was talking about then that I obviously wasn't going to run with, considering we already know where the storylines came from because she keep giving them credit, which is Jim Derogatis. We also noticed that this man didn't want to get on the stand and testify. So don't be confused on how I view Jim Derogatis, Tasha K, and even old Cass Jones, because again, they're in different fields and they don't have that same type of protection that these so-called journalists have when they're out here doing illegal shit.
And, I'm a few years older than Aaliyah, and I remember, being a teenager and dealing with much older men who had no business even looking at me as anything but a child, and needing to navigate that and to say, whoa, wait a minute, this is not okay. So I can understand how when the world is looking at you, speaking from Aaliyah's perspective, that it was very confusing for her. And I always just felt that his presentation, his music talked about it. I mean, Jim Derogatis is an amazing, journalist, and he'll tell you that he's a rock journalist, so he knows music and is a great encyclopedia. And the one thing that he and I talked about a few years ago was that Kelly was telling us about his behavior through his music, right. It's like, you know, it seems like she's ready. You know, age ain't nothing but a number.
You remind me of my Jeep,
Yeah.
feeling on your booty.
Yeah.
It's almost like, and I was talking and speaking as a medical, I'm a doctor myself, speaking as a medical professional, and I was talking to Jim about this. It's almost like his sex predator behavior. It's almost like it's like saying, "Come and get me. I'm teasing you with this.
Yes.
Come and get me.
Yes.
Here's little things," and it'll be from his music. These little sort of, because he knows what he's doing. The music isn't bump and grind and all this. Like, he knows what he's doing. We think when we hear his music, like "Feeling on Your Booty" and "You Remind Me of Jeep," we're thinking of women our own age. He's thinking of 12 and 13-year-olds,
much younger women, much younger women.
That respect. And then another thing Jim mentioned is, which I'm sure we'll get to, he had a habit of keeping these tapes, you know, his sex tapes on him, and I'm sure we'll get to that sex predator behavior. You know, they like to keep trophies. I don't know what it is. It's like a psychological.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, so it's very complex. His behavior and his sort of psychology is very,
So I want to kind of unpack a couple of that. One, the music, definitely. And, you know, in the 90s, I was just kind of, you know, growing into my young womanhood. I turned 21 in 91. 92. I turned 21 years old. And so that was kind of the prime of R. Kelly's music. And I was kind of in that core demographic.
Tim is a liar, bro. Tim is a liar. Talking about he didn't have to be here, but his attorneys is here. Hold on. Sylvia, what you want to say?
I said Tim is a liar. He's supposed to be here. His attorney is here.
I think a lot of the confusion came about when people wanted to gravitate towards this guy, Snitch9, aka Larry McGee, coming to YouTube with all of the shenanigans that I clearly said that all of these other people put out here, and then wanted to get mad because I think it's cap that it showed the levels of hypocrisy that is indwelled upon them to sit here and put all this focus on Robert Kelly and miss the obvious point that I had when they talk about these convictions that they worked so hard to get in court that still don't prove that this man is the head leader of a RICO enterprise, while they sat here and told us all these enablers were doing this and doing that. These people are still free. And then they want to come around jumping in folks' comments like they're oblivious to all of the stuff that their so-called witnesses got on these platforms exposing unsolicited, when they could have just took their monkey ass to court, gave their testimony, and people like me wouldn't have had shit to say, like when we review the things that came out of their mouth like this.
Faith Rogers paid for her first breast job.
There you go. There you go.
Okay? R. Kelly didn't buy Faith Rogers' first car. Kelly and Charles Rogers did.
He only bought the two girls'
You know what he
breasts.
tried to give her? He tried to give her herpes. That's what he gave her.
Yes, he did.
That's what he gave her.
Yes, he did.
And no, and stop saying she got genital herpes. She does not. But it don't matter.
Right.
He exposed her. He
Right.
tried to give it to her.
Right.
He exposed her.
Right. Yes, he did.
And no, and stop saying she got genital herpes. She does not. But it don't matter.
Right.
He exposed her. He
Right.
tried to give it to her. Stop saying she got genital herpes. She does not. But it don't matter.
Right.
He exposed her. He
Right.
tried to give it to her.
Right.
Now, did y'all hear that shit? Because according to her, her daughter don't even have the bump. But yet, when I consistently got on my platform and told y'all that they didn't even prove this man had herpes in court, that they could have got his medical records and his specific doctor to get on the stand and do their testimony, but instead they went and got a janky-ass doctor passing out janky-ass prescriptions, and that don't prove nothing to me, especially when the girl's mama get on the platform talking about he tried to give it to her, and people keep walking around what I'm saying when it comes to this exposure term that they kept throwing out there, because according to the way they tried to lay it, he didn't even have to give none of these girls this disease. But the problem I had is, first you got to prove he had it in order to facilitate this narrative that he tried to give it to somebody. Hello? Yet when you have people positioned on these platforms that, like I said, expose these witnesses, expose these bad act characters from surviving R. Kelly, and even the person that was allegedly involved with this whole Tasha K debacle, passing confidential information to the key witness and also setting up a so-called meeting with the other key witness from the Chicago case. But hey, who am I to be the voice of reason when all these people just wanted to keep coming out here giving their story times, dropping their receipts, then getting mad when I screenshot it and bring it to your attention?
Faith Rogers paid for her first breast job.
Here he go. There he go.
Okay? R. Kelly didn't buy Faith Rogers' first car. Kelly and Charles Rogers did.
See, this is the prime example of how they double talk. Because one minute they want to run with the people that say he's preying on minors, underage girls, but then they come out here with their stories and give you insight that a man that is a predator that likes underage girls in the 90s is going to still like underage girls in 2019. Furthermore, ain't going to be paying for no breast jobs and body modifications if his preference is young, youthful bodies. Somebody make it make sense.
He only bought the two girls'
You know what he
breasts.
tried to give her? He tried to give her herpes. That's what he gave her.
Yes, he did.
That's what he gave her.
Yes, he did.
And no, and stop saying she got genital herpes. She does not. But it don't matter.
Right.
He exposed her. He
Right.
tried to give it to her.
Right.
He exposed her.
Yes, he did.
And no, and stop saying she got genital herpes. She does not. But it don't matter.
Right.
He exposed her. He
Right.
tried to give it to her.
Right.
He exposed her.
Now, I ain't never in my life known nobody to get convicted for trying to expose nobody with no herpes, that again, they could have easily pulled up some medical records and proved that this man had herpes instead of facilitating all of these so-called bad act witnesses to expose themselves. Even the fact that I tried to tell these super fans, instead of engulfing with this man Snitch 9, they could be putting people like Latoya X on their platform to elaborate on some of the information that even she exposed that a lot of people didn't want to talk about. But back to the mute R. Kelly people and the people like Gerald Griggs who confuse my position when, again, I can both point out all the janky stuff that was put forth to get these convictions. I can point out all of these janky ass people that were sent to so-called help Robert Kelly. And it still don't mean that I gotta believe that this man is aware of the levels of corruption that actually went forth into his case in getting him convicted. So when it comes to these hypocrites, if you don't know nothing about Prima Donna, you better know that I'ma double down on everything that I've said, stand 10 toes on all of my research, and re-deliver the content that maybe you were too distracted to zone in on the relevancy.
If your daughter cut off all contact with you, you gonna let her go? That's called parenting? If she's grown. I don't care if she's grown or not. If I raised her the right way, Gerald, she know how to come back. If your daughter plain and simple, all contact with you, you would be okay with that. But there's something to the family would even cut. Hold on. Well, you understand what I'm saying? I hear what y'all saying. I hear what y'all saying. But here's my problem. I want to hear your problem, Jeremy. 2 federal indictments. 2 state court indictments. 2. And more charges to come. And everybody's sitting around talking. More charges to come that he didn't do? Okay, we'll see. We'll see about that.
Now, clearly the relevancy in this clip is to bring back to people's attention the fallout that really got people looking at Tiny Tim and Pimplo hella crazy when Tiny Tim started all these wellness checks, running to the police with all his reports, running to people like him, talking about he needed their help to do this and do that. But at the end of the day, it wasn't going to bring their daughter back when they equally got on these platforms and embarrassed the fuck out of her, talking about she's a sex slave, she got herpes, and all this other bull crap. So my conclusion on them as a whole was the fact that when they got into it, Tim and Pimplo, that is, they had to, in my opinion, position somebody to get people's attention off the fuckery. So when Tim went and told these people that James Mason, R. Kelly's real manager, threatened him, and then people wanted to keep giving credibility to this musclehead dude, Don Russell, and get mad because I just clearly say, this ain't this man manager. Whatever he called himself doing, ain't doing nothing but making shit worse for R. Kelly. But because they wanted to come out here and cap for him, I'm sure they gonna be looking at this video now because, as I said, even Pimplo told us that the feds were watching all this stuff going on. It wasn't a problem. They were still saying R. Kelly is behind it. And people think I'm gonna get mad because I wasn't gonna involve myself with none of these weirdos doing all this stuff that I clearly did not think was gonna help Robert Kelly.
I'm not none of that. Like y'all really bugging out, man. Like y'all really losing yourself. Because after that, it won't be no more conversation for a man that had history, repeated history of having relationships with children. And now it's all exposed, just like my daughter said on the phone. On her live,
or whoever thought they was doing something by posting my story on the shade room and screenshotting it. Okay, first of all, I've always had a fucking phone, so I don't get where people think, oh my gosh, she has a phone, wow. No, I've always had a phone. Just because my parents put it out there that I don't have a phone, that's them. I don't talk to my parents. I'm not in communication with my parents, and I don't want to talk to my parents. I'm a grown-ass woman, 21, about to be 22. And if I don't want to talk to my parents, I don't have to talk to my parents. I don't have to talk to nobody in this fucking world if I don't want to.
It's all exposed, and you people still sitting around here. Grown people that she should be able to look up to. Grown queen. Except y'all sitting there throwing stones because y'all don't want to believe none of this history now. Nothing that came forward. Nothing that went past the state that have now got federal charges, and y'all still don't believe nothing. And all y'all can say is, I want him home. What do you think he's going to do when he's home? You think he's going to have a phone, plaster the number for all you idiots to call him, he going to chat on y'all like he know y'all? Like, be real, man. Make it make sense. And all y'all that's trying to backpedal, saying that he ain't with this, guess what? Y'all was the ones that y'all did a year ago when y'all was saying we sat with R. Kelly doing the thing, and he told us all to do this, and we stand for him, and we know it's right. So guess what? Don't let him backpedal now. And it's to the government, whoever else, make him stand for what he's supposed to stand for. Because they all sat at the table with him. Dana took him up there. Dana sat on his platform. All of them sat at the table. So if all y'all sat at the table, he told y'all at the table to do what y'all doing and all this, and y'all came back, all y'all went on y'all platform, talking, yeah, he gave us orders and this and that. He was home. He was on bail. So we ain't gonna play like y'all don't know what you're talking about. So now don't get mad when the feds do their due diligence by watching what come out your mouth on your page, on my page, on everybody's page, and they take it and start making this into evidence. And then they start time checking, and then they take your phones and they ping it, and they ping it sitting beside R. Kelly. They know you ain't lying. You understand, if they ever come up, your asses that were sitting at the table will be called in federal court to sit down and have a conversation. See, sometimes it ain't good to always run y'all goddamn mouth about what you did, how you did it. But now that it's thick and it's serious and it's not a game, now y'all, oh no, I wasn't really there. No, all y'all was there. You said y'all sat down with him. And if it wasn't for Shabazz that recorded that apartment, I would ask half y'all what the condo even look like, because half y'all don't even know what it looked like. Half y'all, when y'all went to the trunk, y'all went on the goddamn hotel side, but y'all try to act like y'all been all in the thing with the girl. Y'all ain't been no goddamn way. Stop lying. There's a very big difference between a 17-year-old that lives in Florida, where Florida law says you have to be 18 years old to have consenting adult sex. Period. Man, that's all they do. They just talk. They let people on. Oh, I know this. I'm gonna say this because they say it don't make it true. Let me tell you something. I got a conversation with Donna. I think it's in the text. He was on there. You know what he said when he was trying to get Tim and them to verify this. The Savage family verified, because I called him straight up when he was playing that he was Tim's cousin and all that. You know what he told him? It don't matter if it's true. When he was trying to run around with the nerve, him and R. Kelly trying to run around with the nerve to say if we didn't stop chasing them and chasing our daughters, trying to get our daughters home, that they was gonna put out the nerve to have our daughters say that we sexually molested them. Now, do y'all recall that? See, I've been said that a long time ago. So don't play no games. You know what he said? It don't matter if it's true, Angelo, because if I put it out on Tim, that's what people gonna run with. And that's what you dummies do. You letting a fool play you as a dummy. And all y'all running around with this commentary that makes no sense, no relevance, has no truth, but y'all keep running with it. Y'all keep running with it. Y'all open it up every day, getting on your channel like y'all got something. And you know, we heard this today, and I got such and such coming on here, and this and that. Like, make it make sense.
Yeah, I'm gonna make it make sense, because again, it's so many moving pieces with this whole debacle. People didn't want to focus on the points. So again, when you go back to the fact that Dana put out here his encounter with Griggs and all the things that he said, and the fact that again he come back on my platform talking about how he feel about me feeling like all of them are capped based on all of this, and then you see for yourself looking back that again, Pimplo was talking about why he wasn't going to be involved with Tim Savage claims against James Mason. So then it seemed like to me it was obvious to bring all that attention to Don Russell. So if you thought that I was going to sit out here defending Don Russell, because again, people keep missing that if y'all keep gassing this man up to get on these platforms and give all this information, ain't no need feeling no type of way about me making no articles talking about I'm working with the feds when you looking dead at the people who are clearly working with the feds, clearly telling you the feds are watching these channels, and clearly knew all about these leaks that led up to Tasha K getting this information, passing it through certain individuals to the bad act witness, or should I say the star witnesses, and then trying to act like they don't know how it affected this man's case when they know very well that if they had left this whole situation alone, maybe it would have been different. And when I say that, I clearly don't mean that they didn't have a right to go and report this and report that, or to pursue what they feel is justice, but you a damn fool to think it was cool to get on these platforms, putting all this information out here, and then acting oblivious to why you had to put in all this work to get people to believe the nonsense that everybody was cool with this man preying on minors as long as he had money until it all ran out.
Tantalizing moments with V is that versus some of the other girls, the amount of time V stayed in the relationship she had. Still, you know, one thing you got to keep in mind though with him, everybody, although a lot of the treatment was what it was, but there were still different relationships and reasons why certain people interact with him, and the way he treated certain people weren't all. But that type of treatment was definitely.
Now you'd have to be a fool to recognize how the direction shifted from these so-called enablers to all of these characters that came to YouTube trying to do all this help for R. Kelly, then confused why I'm gonna sit back and document it all. Yet you would be a fool to think that I would put myself in the middle of everybody else's beefs on these YouTube streets when clearly my position has always been, it don't take all this bullshit to blog about a topic.
Anyway, I was explaining to them why I was in contact with Dr. Rice. So after I got that, you know, I thanked them and everything. We moved on to the next, right? So then we had a conversation, and I don't know, names came up, and I was like, oh, okay. So then he made a comment to me. He said, somebody was like a loose cannon, right? So okay, when the whole indictment came down, and then Randa was reading, you know, my reader was reading, and I heard the word loose cannon, and I was like, wait a minute, I heard that before. I just heard it the day before. Then I explained to Randa how I heard it, you know. So then I was like, that's Dr. Rice. They talking about Dr. Rice. So, you know, long story short, then I started seeing everybody with the thing. Then I sent him the message like, hey, Dr. Rice, okay, I can read y'all the message I sent it to you. You know, I like to be detailed. I had sent him a message saying that there are people who put his name out there and basically what's going on. So him and I talked this morning, and so he played the recording for me. So I said, Dr. Rice, can I get an exclusive, please? He said, yeah, but you're gonna owe me big time.
That's right.
Whatever. So
hey, I know you got my text. I said, ask Dr. Rice for your interview this morning.
I did get your interview. I did. Okay, I'm gonna give Gucci credit. Okay, Gucci asked me to ask Dr. Rice to get an interview. He wants the credit. But anyway.
Oh my goodness, Gucci. No, I don't want the credit. This is a us. I want it for your show.
There's no me and we.
That's all I was interested in.
Or an eye.
No,
Anyway,
no,
I
it's keen.
think the chat want to know what's going on because now you're delaying the time and this is
Well, you delay, that's what I'm
okay. So then when I heard it, I said, "Oh crap, this is crazy! You only hear one side of it, and this the recording." I'm like, whoa! I gotta tell people what's going on, right? Guys, I'm gonna play the recording. Okay, here's the deal. They were recording, but also Dr. Rice was recording too, because he got the phone call all out the blue. And he was like, he's gonna record it just in case he might need it. And thank God he was smart enough to record from his side. Because when you read the indictment, you only hear one side and make it seem like he's in cahoot with trying to what? Pay off the witness? Not that way, y'all. I promise you, it's not that way. It's a game. They called him and tried to entrapment. Okay, remember that word? Entrapment. Whew.
Definition below.
Right. Now, Dr. Rice is in a one-party consent state, so therefore he could record the conversation. The person is in a state that is a two-party, so therefore Dr. Rice didn't know that he was being recorded. Kind of strange, isn't it? Okay. That's why, if you notice in the indictment, they put I-5. I-5. Only person that would know who I-5 is a person involved, a person that knows that person. Got it, guys? Government's very smart. And then you also know, Randa, can you please read the part that I would like? Oh, page 17. Page 17, when it starts talking about I-5 person.
Wait, you want me to read the
recording, please? Hey, Justice is my bitch. You know how you try to hold on to the last minute, let everybody watch the whole show, and then the real part comes in at the end? That's what I'm doing to y'all.
Yeah. Hold on, you want me to read that paragraph, or you want me to read during the conversation?
The conversation, try to put names if possible. No, don't put other people's names. Just put his name in I-5. Just put his name in I-5, okay?
I'm harsh, y'all, so bear with me. No, I'm just playing. Yeah, so shit, all I know is...
Don't put no other people's name except I-5.
No, I'm not. I'm just reading what's on the paperwork. So if I curse on the paperwork, I'm not going to bleep it out. You want me to bleep it out? I'll bleep it out. Watch this, y'all. Yeah, so bleep. All I know is I just seen some bleep.
Just do the whole thing without name. Just have I-5.
Okay, let me stop. Okay, just blew my mind. So shit, I just called I-2 like I told you. I ain't really been talking to him about y'all since we talked, which was about 2 weeks ago. So I just called him right now. He like, man, holler at Dr. Rice. I'm like, why I need to holler at Dr. Rice for? He like, man, Dr. Rice doing everything from now on. He's speaking for Rob. He's talking to Rob. And I'm thinking he bullshit. He like, man, go check out the video. So I go check out the video. I2 on the I2 having a live interview with Dr. Rice. And I'm like, basically, Rob is talking to this dude now, Dr. Rice. During the conversation, Jane Doe asked, so whose idea was it to pay this $300? And Arlene's Jr. said, I'm gonna call him Junior. No. So when I1 called me, he said, what's the most? I said, hold on. I told I2 like shit. It'll probably be somewhere in the 300s looking at how much money this nigga got. So I went back and told I1 300. That was 2 weeks ago. The audio glitches. She never responded back. When Jane Doe asked, and now Dr. Rice is, and so that means Dr. Rice just came and played about 2 weeks ago, Junior said. Man, probably about a week ago, or where he been putting this shit in place, where he doing all the talking for him and shit, because he told me, because I talked to I4 and as well. I tried to holler at I4 about this money situation too, and she was like, nah, we ain't doing that. And I was like, why? And she said Dr. Rice's name too. He is on some old other shit though. So that's like when I first talked to him or her, I hollered at him or her, and I too to see where they was at with that shit. And that's when we all started talking. But she knocked it down right away. But I too was like, yeah, you probably could try to work it out. You want me to keep reading on?
Yeah,
Okay, here we go. Based on my participation in the investigation, there is probable cause to believe that in 2 weeks between Junior first communicated with Jane Doe and suggested that Kelly would pay $300,000 for her silence in the time of this June 10, 2020 telephone call. The situation may have changed, including by putting Dr. Rice as opposed to I2 in charge of the strategy for Kelly, and that Dr. Rice may be less inclined to participate in a direct payoff of Jane Doe. At 9:27 p.m., Junior called Dr. Rice and told Dr. Rice that Jane Doe wanted to have a three-way call with Junior and Dr. Rice agreed. And the three-way call finally took place at 9:45. During that telephone conversation, Junior clarified in substance that after Jane Doe initially requested $2 million settlement, Junior contacted I2 and I3, referring to each of their first names, and they said in substance that Kelly could not afford a $2 million settlement. Junior explained that the $300,000 settlement came about when I1 called him and asked how much, and that I3 then called I2, who suggested $300. Dr. Rice then told Jane Doe that Dr. Rice would contact I2 to find out exactly what I2 meant and mentioned that I3 had called Dr. Rice 2 weeks ago and told Dr. Rice about the situation. Following the telephone call, Junior and Dr. Rice spoke again at 10:11, and Dr. Rice suggested that Jane Doe was a loose cannon. On Friday, June 11, 2020, Junior traveled from Chicago to Houston, Texas. Wait, is it still talking about I-5? Yeah. to celebrate his wife's birthday during the trip, June 12th, 11:36 p.m. At the direction of law enforcement, Jane Doe called Junior and told him, let's just go with the settlement. I don't know if Dr. Rice got back to you. Junior ended the telephone call by telling Jane Doe, let me see what's going on. I'll have an answer in the morning about the money. On June 14th, Junior called I3, but the telephone call went to voicemail. I3 twice tried to return Junior's call, but Junior did not pick up the call. On June 15th, at 10:45, Junior and I3 finally connected. During the call, I3 said, I talked to Dr. Rice. He said you would hit him up, and Junior said, oh yeah, I talked to him a little bit. Junior explained that Jane Doe wanted money to be quiet. Junior explained that Dr. Rice said it would be futile to pay her because Jane Doe probably would not end up cooperating with law enforcement at the end of the call. Junior, who was still in Houston, said that he would hit I3 when he got back to Chicago. To date, Jane Doe, wait, does it still talk about it? Nope, that's it.
Now, if you made it to this part of the video, you know I'm about to conclude. And it should be clear as day that all the stuff that these people put out here like they were helping and doing this and doing that on behalf of Robert Kelly, that they got overly offended about, that I clearly and still stand on the fact and why I said it was janky as hell. They can keep sitting around trying to manipulate the things that I'm showing you and why, but I encourage you, when you start to think about a pardon for this man and you review all the things that we witness being put out here, it should be no surprise that you're going to have to pick your side. You're going to have to come to the conclusion of, do you believe this man did this, or do you believe this man was railroaded? Because you can't sit here and straddle the fence and keep engaging with these people who put in all this work to keep R. Kelly down, then play in y'all's face.
As a video of me, he made me do this video actually of me doing a number 2 in a cup and then eating it out of the cup.
Sugar rush, gotta make that dough, that's enough. Batter up, watch me go. Thinking all day, that's all I know. Batter up, it's my show. Stacking that bread, watch my business grow.
Okay, hush, this is gangster wishes. I can't eat a Waffle House princess. Homies call her, refuse to kick it. Cookies, cakes, pies, biscuits, shawty sweet. Time to eat, stand on business on the sauce feet. PD pastries, good price. Whatever she bake, better get a slice. All your bitch know how to make his rice. Shanissa so cold and I ain't talking ice. Black owned business, gotta help it grow. Got a sweet tooth, I know where you need to go. I'm gonna let you next week. Okay.
Time has come for this cookie. Nom nom nom. Oh, nom 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 nom. Ha. Bye-bye.